Hello everyone. Good evening. Hopefully all of you are doing well. And yesterday we were studying that dilution of concentrated acid and it is an exothermic process. So we studied this, that how dilution works and what to do and what we cannot do when we dilute an acid. So right now we are going to study about the methods that how can we dilute some acids. Now, okay, so this is acid and this is water. Now we have two things. Either we studied about two things, that either we have water here and we have acid here. So either I can put acid to water or I can put water to acid. Now there are two methods and both of them are exothermic. So we studied on yesterday that both these process, even the process of dilution is exothermic process. But we have two options, that what should we do if we want to dilute an acid. So remember that this method is wrong. We should not add water to acid. Okay, we should not add water to acid. Rather than this, we have to add acid to water. Now why this reaction is not good and this reaction is good, or we can say appropriate, while we are doing same thing, we are diluting an acid. Remember that as both of these reactions are exothermic, dilution of acid is exothermic, so definitely it will create heat whenever we dilute this. Okay, it will create immense heat. Now remember that when there is a huge amount of water here, it is full of water, and we add we want to mix acid with water and we pour this acid in very little amount. Okay, we don't pour this just like we poured this pot and in 1 second or 2 seconds. No, we are pouring this slightly and very slowly, so it will create heat, but the heat is not so immense. That definitely it is an exothermic reaction. It will create heat, but heat is not so immense, and this acid will not splash out, and it cannot cause harm because heat will produce, but it will not so immense. Okay, it will definitely produce heat, but heat will be not so immense. So by adding this, heat is produced, but there is nothing will splash out from this beaker and there will be no harm. But instead of doing this, if we put water into acid, it will create much amount of heat, and this acid will splash out. Because of this heat, it will come out and it will create heat, and it can harm or it can burn the person who is doing this activity. So always remember that this method is always good. We have to pour acid into water. We have to fill this beaker. Don't take very tiny amount or very little amount of water. Just fill this beaker, so that the effect of mixing and the effect of mixing. Okay, will nullify. What is meaning of nullify? If you use full jar full of water, and if you add a little amount of acid, you are pouring very slowly, so it will nullify the effect of mixing, that is heat, and there will be no negative reaction. Nothing will splash out. So this is the correct form. And if you do this, then there is production of immense heat. Much amount of heat is produced and the acid will splash out. So don't take a small amount of water. Always take this beaker full of water. Now I'm moving to another point, and this point is this is a question. This could be asked you in exams. As we know that pattern of board exams has been changed, and now you have to answer 20 MCQs for a single paper. So this is a question. I just took these examples took this example to make you understand that what type of questions will become. First, the question is, which of the following are exothermic process? Now, what is exothermic? Any process which creates heat or which produces heat is known as exothermic process. So, first reaction is reaction of water with quicklime. First of all, before doing any type of question or before marking them right or wrong, please read all the options you provided. Now, dilution of acid, evaporation of water, and sublimation of camphor. So we know that dilution of acid, we know this, that when we dilute acid, either we are doing this or we are doing this. Definitely this is a not to do method, this is not a good method, it can harm us, but in both cases we are diluting acid, and we know that dilution is an exothermic process. It brings immense heat and it creates immense heat. So dilution of concentrated acid is exothermic process. So this is our correct answer. Now I'm moving to another point, and here I want to check something. I want to check effect of dilution on H plus ion concentration of an acid. Now what does it mean? It means that effect of dilution, as we want to dilute an acid, so what we do, this is water and we pour acid here. Okay, now this is the correct way, but just for making an example, I'm changing a way a bit. So if I'm diluting this acid, okay, I'm diluting this acid. Now what happens to H plus ions here? Okay, now remember one thing, that acid is known as acid because it can release H plus ions. You have to remember this, that if anything can release H plus ion, then it is known as acid. And these H plus ions are also known as protons. So when anything can release H plus ion, they are known as acids. So in this question, we have to understand that what are the effects of dilution. So here I'm taking 3 test tubes. Remember that I'm taking 3 test tubes here. These are 3 test tubes. Okay, in first test tube I'm using 1 ml of HCl. In second test tube, I am using 1 ml of HCl, hydrochloric acid. And in third test tube, I am using 1 ml of HCl. Now, what is the difference? I am pouring, definitely this is not a good right method to dilute an acid. Obviously, we know that we can't pour water into acid. Despite of this, we have to put acid into water, but just for a reaction, that is not a big deal. I'm doing this experiment and I'm taking very tiny amount of acid, so that is not a big deal. Now in this first test tube, I will add no water. In this second test tube, I will add 10 ml of water, and in third test tube, I will add, definitely I'm going to add 20 ml of water. Okay, now this first one is definitely not diluted. This second one is a bit diluted, and the third one is very more or much diluted, because amount of water is so much in this one, much diluted. Okay, now I'm indicating A, B and C for these test tubes. Now my question was that effect of dilution on H plus ion concentration. So concentration means HCl is acid, and all these 3 test tubes are full of acids, and surely they are having H plus ions, because H plus ions get released. We know that when an acid get mixed with water, it can release its H plus ions. We know this. And we also know this, that without help of water, any kind of acids cannot release their H plus ions. We know 2 things, that acid needs water to release their H plus ions, which we have studied on yesterday. So now in these 3 test tube, I will add some zinc granules. I will add some zinc granules. Okay, these are zinc granules. I will add same amount of zinc granules. Now what would happen? Let's take test tube 1. This test tube 1 is having HCl and it is having Zn, and the reaction will be ZnCl plus H2. We know that when any acid reacts with any metal, it produces salt and hydrogen gas. Let's take test tube B here. This HCl a bit diluted. We know that it is bit diluted. When we compare it to test tube A, so it will diluted because we added water in this. And when it reacts with Zn, it will form ZnCl plus H2 gas. Okay, this is a reaction we studied. And now take test tube number 3. I'm taking HCl. Okay, and what happened? This test tube is filled with 20 ml of water. This is filled with 10 ml of water, and this is filled with no water. So here this HCl is much diluted because it is having more amount of water molecules, and it will form ZnCl plus H2. Now, what is the difference? The difference you can see lies here, that the HCl which was totally no diluted will release very much amount of HCl. It will release very much amount of H2, sorry, it will release very much amount of hydrogen gas. Very much amount of hydrogen gas. Okay, this test tube number 3, which is having only 10 ml of water, it will release a medium amount of H2. And this last test tube, which was having 20 ml of water and 1 ml of HCl, because we put equal amount of HCl in all these test tubes and different amount of water in all these test tubes. So this last one is having 1 ml of HCl and 20 ml of water. So it is very diluted form. It means HCl is very less and water is very high. So definitely HCl will produce, but HCl will produce in very low amount. Okay. Now we can say that as the hydrogen gas releases more, it is more concentrated or more acidic, and it will become lesser and lesser acidic as we are going to add more water. So upon depending on the release of hydrogen gases, we can say that any acid which releases more hydrogen, any acid which releases more hydrogen gas is more acidic. Okay, because finally a time come that when I'm using 1 ml of HCl and I'm using 50 ml of water here. I'm using 10 ml of HCl and I'm using 50 ml of water here. So this HCl will definitely, it will release it H plus ions. Definitely it will release H plus ions, because as soon as acid come in contact with water, it will release its H ion. But what would happen now? It will become very dilute because I'm adding 50 ml of water to 1 ml of HCl, and it will become very much diluted. That if I add zinc granules to this, okay, it is previously filled with HCl and we add water. So amount of HCl is very less and amount of water is much high. So it will become much diluted, that if I add zinc granules to this test tube and if there will be a reaction that diluted, okay, I am using much diluted HCl and I'm using zinc granule, it will form ZnCl, and a negligible amount of H2 will release. Or if you dilute it more, if you dilute it more, 100 ml water and 1 ml HCl, so finally a times will come, if you are diluting it with much amount of water to 100 ml of water or 100 ml of water, or finally if you add 1 ml of HCl, and if you are adding approximately 1 liter or 100,000 ml of water into this 1 ml HCl, and when I put zinc granules to this, okay, then there will be no reaction. Finally there will be no H2 gas production, and there will be no reaction, finally no reaction. Why so? Because at this condition this HCl is in much diluted form, and it cannot goes with this zinc granules. And finally I'm using this example, okay, I'm using this much diluted, okay, we cannot say this is HCl now, because it have lost its property, and we cannot say that we cannot find any type of acidic property in this. And now you can even drink this water because it is much diluted, and 1 ml of HCl is containing 1000 ml of water. So you can say that what is the meaning of using this HCl in this water? It is not more a acid, okay. And if you use it with zinc molecule, there will be no reaction, because the concentration of H ions will get decreased. They are continuously decreasing. In previous experiment we know that concentration of H ions are decreasing as we are adding water to it. And finally, if you added much amount of water, the concentration of H plus ions are continuously decreasing H ions, because we are adding much amount of water to same amount of 1 ml of HCl. Here we used 1 ml of HCl, and we have used 1 ml of 1000 ml of water. So here also we can say that amount of HCl or H plus ion are decreases to such an extent that it is not considered as acid. Now 1 ml of acid HCl with 1000 ml of H2O is not an acid. We cannot say this is an acid, and there will be no reaction. So when you dilute any acid, the concentration of H plus ion will decrease, okay. When you add water with acid, and you are keep going, you are diluting, the concentration of H ion will decrease. And if you are continuously adding water to it, a time will come that this acid will not considered as acid, because there is negligible concentration of H plus ions, okay. Now I'm moving to another point, that how uh, concentration we can taste concentration of an acid. How to taste concentration of an acid? What is the meaning of concentration of an acid, okay. Now how to taste concentration of acid? What is the concentration? Let me revise you. I have told you this in previous classes, that what is the concentration of acid. When any acid can release H plus ions, and if acid can release much amount of H plus ion, then it is known as concentrated acid, okay. Concentrated acid can release H plus ion very easily, okay. And concentrated acid have more amount of water, less amount of water, and more amount of acid. So this is concentrated acid. Concentrated acid has less amount of water and more amount of acid. So when it is filled with total acid, it is filled with HCl, then we can say it is concentrated. Then how to identify that which acid is more concentrated and which acid is less concentrated? Suppose you are given with two test tubes, okay. Here I have used 1 ml of H2SO4, and I have used 10 ml of water. And here I have used 1 ml of H2SO4, and I have used 20 ml of water. Okay, now if I ask you, or if someone asked me that, tell me that which is more concentrated and which is less concentrated. So first of all, you can go with this hydrogen releasing test. Just put some zinc granules or metal granules, and by the amount of hydrogen gas releasing, you can tell that which acid is more concentrated and which is less concentrated, okay. This is more concentrated, so it will release more hydrogen, and this is less concentrated, so it will release less hydrogen. Second, you can go with this, okay. This is my favorite one, and this is known as universal indicator. You just have to take a strip of this universal indicator and put this strip in both of these test tubes, and definitely they are having different concentration. Okay, one is having more amount of acid and one is having less amount of acid, or you can say one is having more amount of water and one is having less amount of water. Just take a strip and dip into this, and you know that weak acid will, as we move towards this side, okay, from right to left, the acidic condition will increase. So both two strips will show you different colors, will show you different colors. And by using these straps, universal straps, you can identify that which one is strong acid. So this will be strong acid and this will be weak acid, okay, when we compare these two. Or this will be weak acid, or this will be strong acid when we will compare these two. So you can identify that which one is strong and which one is weak acid, okay, or which one is concentrated or which one is less concentrated. You can identify both things. And by measuring a quantity which is called pH, we studied that these numbers are known as pH, okay, these numbers are known as pH. Bases show pH from 8 to 14 and more, and acids show pH from 6 to 0. So this is more acidic and this is more basic. Okay, so you can use pH meter also. Okay, you can use pH meter and you can identify that which one is more acidic and which one is less acidic, or which one is more basic or which one is less basic. So these three we have these three experiments which can show us that which is more concentrated acid, okay, and which is more diluted acid, okay, or which is more uh, we can say strong acid, or which is more weak acid. Definitely you can use hydrogen test. If someone is concentrated or someone is strong, it will release more hydrogen, and someone is dilute and weak, it will release less hydrogen. By using universal indicator show color difference. You can show the color, you can see the color difference. And finally, by measuring pH, okay, you can use pH meter to find that which is more concentrated and which is less concentrated. Now we are moving to another point. And okay, before moving to bases, let me revise you what we have studied in our previous classes. Okay, let me revise you, it will take 2 minutes. So we studied about the properties of acids. Now the first property of acid is it is sour in taste. It can turn litmus paper, it can turn blue litmus paper red. We studied this. Okay, its action on methyl orange, we know that what color will appear. Color on phenolphthalein, there will be no change in phenolphthalein color if we use acid with this. We studied all these things in previous classes. It is corrosive in nature, it can corrode or it can melt anything. We studied about reaction of metals with different reaction of acid with metals. We studied about reaction of acids with metal carbonate and metal hydrogen carbonate. We studied this in previous classes. Reaction of acids, okay. We studied that acid can conduct electricity. We studied this, that acid can conduct electricity. We studied that how acids react with bases. It is also known as neutralization reaction, if you remember. Okay, we studied that how acids react with metal oxide and metallic hydroxide, which is also known as base. Okay, we studied this. How there are two types of acids, we know, organic and inorganic acids. We studied this on yesterday. How to handle food stuff, we should not put any acidic food in metal boxes or metal bottles, but we can use tin. If you want to use any metal to store acidic food, we can use tin metal because it doesn't reacts with any acid. We know about hydronium ions, which was H3O, and how it produces when H plus adds with H2O, it will produce H3O. Okay, we studied about how acid reacts with water yesterday. Do you remember this experiment? We was using yeah, this one. Okay, do you remember this? That acid can release their hydrogen only when they react with water. Other than this, they cannot release their H plus ion. We studied this. And right now we studied that what is dilution of acid and how can we dilute acid, and how to check that some acid is more diluted or some acid is less diluted, by releasing of H2 gas, by using universal indicator, that is Trips universal indicator, and third by using pH. So this is all about acid. Now we are moving to another type of substances which are known as base. Remember first thing that as acids can release hydrogen ions, bases can release OH ion only in presence of H2O. So anything which can release OH ions, OH minus ions, okay, remember this, H plus and OH minus. So if anything can release OH minus ion, it is considered as base. They are bases, anything. If I uh, ask you about something, that this is glucose and this is our alcohol, okay, both of them are having OH, and if I add them to water, okay, they cannot release or they are not able to release OH despite, and even though they are having OH but they cannot release OH, so they are not base. Remember this. Okay, anything which can release OH ions is known as base. Anything, if you can release OH ions, then you will be considered as base. Okay, jokes apart. Now there are two types of bases. One type of bases are soluble in water. One type of bases are soluble in water, and another type of bases are non-soluble in water. So those bases which are soluble in water are known as alkalis. Okay, alkalis. Any basic substances which can release OH ions. Never write that it contain OH ion, because they also contain OH ion but they cannot release this. So remember that anything which can release OH ions, okay, bases in any type of bases which are soluble in water are known as alkalis. They are bitter in taste. I don't think that you need to explain this. uh, Turn blue litmus red, we know, okay, they can neutralize H plus ion. We will study it in detail in another classes. And they have soapy feels. What is soapy feels? Soapy feels means we know about soaps, shampoos, toothpaste, how they feel like our fingers are gliding over. Okay, so bases have soapy feel, or we can say slimy feel or glidy feel, or they are very smooth. Okay, so bases are very smooth in nature. Okay, now what is the meaning of neutralizing H plus ions? Remember that when there is H plus ion and I use this OH ion, it will form H2O. Okay, so we studied in our previous class that how milk of magnesia can be used. So this OH or base can nullify the effect of H plus, or it can calm down the effect of acid, or it can delete the effect of acids. So this reaction is known as neutralizing reaction, which is known when anything is removing or deleting, or we can say removing, proper word. So this can remove OH ion, base can remove the effect of acids, and this is known as neutralization reaction. Now they are corrosive in nature. What is the meaning of corrosive? They can burn any surface and they can melt any surface. So when the base are very high basic, okay, they are up to this range, from here to here, okay, these type of bases are corrosive in nature and they can melt any surface or they can burn our skin. So these type of as bases which are very strong in nature or corrosive in nature, they are known as sodium hydroxide. This is sodium and this is hydroxide, and another one is known as potassium hydroxide, that is KOH. Another name of potassium hydroxide is caustic potash. Don't forget this, that KOH is also known as caustic potash. Now another point I want to mention you, this is not present in our NCERT book, but I would like to mention you that what are strong acids and weak strong bases, sorry, and weak bases. Okay, strong bases. As we know that anything which can release OH ion, I am again telling you, don't write that which contain. There is no need of containing. If you cannot release OH ion, then you are not a base. So if anything can release OH ion, then these are known as bases. Now here you can see it is a strong base and it is weak base, and I have added water to this because any type of acid or any type of base needs water to release. Okay, base also needs water to release its OH ions, remember this. Okay, now this is strong base and this is weak base. Now this is strong base and this is NaOH. Okay, and this is weak base, this is NH4OH. Remember, this is sodium hydroxide and this is ammonium hydroxide. Remember, this is ammonia. Okay, and this is sodium, don't forget. Now come to the point that this strong, this is Na part, this blue part, you can see this blue part, this is Na part. Okay, this is Na part, and it release its OH part. This part is released in water, so it OH part is released. Okay, so these are NaOH or KOH, they can release their OH. Okay, so they are strong. But in weak solution, you can see that sometimes this, consider that this is sodium hydroxide, so this blue part is ammonium, sorry, this blue part is ammonium and this part is OH. Okay, this black part is OH. So you can see that sometime they released their OH, sometime they released their OH, but sometime they don't release their OH, and this OH is in association with this ammonia part. Okay, so this is undissociated part, so you can see that this is undissociated part, and we can say that a strong acid have dissociated all their OH ions, all of the OH ions are dissociated. Okay, and they are Na part, so they are dissociated and they form NaOH, will form Na plus OH minus. Okay, now they are dissociated completely. So if they are completely dissociated, they are known as strong acids, sorry, strong bases. Okay, here you can see that they are not completely dissociated sometimes, so sometimes they dissociate and sometimes they don't dissociate, so we can say they are not completely dissociated. So they are known as weak bases, they are weak bases. Now how do they work? They will work NH4. How do they work? NH4OH. Now there will be two things, sometimes they are releasing, okay, and sometimes they are not releasing, so that's why they are, or they are not dissociating, so they are known as weak bases. So this is the difference, and please learn these examples, please learn. Now I want to tell you one thing. Okay, now this is also known as a base. Okay, look. Okay, now what is the formula? The formula is N2H4. Okay, this is a base. Now you have to ask me a question, that this is a base. Okay, ma'am, you are telling me that this is a base, but it is not having OH. Definitely, then why it is a base? Okay, definitely it is not having OH, but when this base, this is a base, okay, there is no H, okay, there is no OH, I know this, okay, but this is a base, because when it goes with water, okay, when it goes with water, it pressurize this water to release OH ions. Okay, so it will release, so it pressurize this water to release OH ions from water, despite even though they are not having any OH, but they pressurizes this water to release OH ions, so they are able to release OH ions when they come in contact with water, and that's why it is also a base. So always remember that anything which can release its OH ions, or anything which makes water to release its OH ions. Anything which can release its OH ions by itself, or which can make release OH ions from water. Okay, in both cases they are bases, because like this or like that they are able to release OH ions. Either they are doing by themselves, or they are pressurizing water to release its OH ions. By this or by that, by hook or crook, they are able to release OH ions. In aqueous solution, remember that nothing works, neither acid nor bases. Nothing works without water. Remember, both of them need water to release their H plus and OH minus ions. Okay, now I'm moving to another point. This is very simple point, that how base reacts with two solutions, which is phenolphthalein and methyl orange. We know that this is phenolphthalein and this is methyl orange. Both of them are synthetic indicators. We have studied in our previous classes that these are synthetic indicators. They are man-made, and we know that base, when come in contact to phenolphthalein, it will make pink color. All, don't forget this, try to remember this right now, that when you should be asked this question in your exams, and you don't need to revise it each and every time. So remember this right now, that when basis goes with phenolphthalein, it will form pink color, and when basis goes with methyl orange, it will form yellow color. So there, this is another property of bases. Okay, now tomorrow, after tomorrow, because tomorrow we are not having any class because of Friday, so after tomorrow on Saturday, I will tell you another property of base, which is conduction of electricity. So today I'm finishing my class, and till yesterday, take care of yourselves. We can meet on same time and at same address. Bye bye.